Hey, everybody, good morning. And good morning, my veteran brothers and sisters. I'm very proud to be here, and I just want you to know that I do have an amazing story, but I was talking to Laura Reese here from Veterans Life Changing Services, and she said to talk about the book. And I talked with my friend Ned, and he said talk about what brought me up to writing the book. So I decided to do a little bit of both. And in order to tell the real story, it was about my life, growing up as a child. Both of my parents were alcoholics. My father was a World War II veteran and had PTSD, and he had a lot of anger issues. And that became a very difficult childhood for me. My mother and father were divorced, and I ended up being put into a military school. My father wanted me to not be with my mother because she was an alcoholic. So I was physically and mentally abused in the military school and came out of there, and eventually I joined the Marines at 18. I thought I was really going to make a career of the Marine Corps, but after my first tour in Vietnam, wounded 3 times, I decided, no, this isn't what I really wanted for my life, to be a career Marine. I wanted to go out and I wanted to share my story, and I only graduated from high school. I didn't have the skills to actually write a book, so I had to really learn how to write and how to process the book. And what ended up happening was I was trying to actually tell the story in such a way that everybody would understand what it's like to be in Vietnam. So that's what I did. I was in, my first operation was Operation Beaver Cage. And Operation Beaver Cage, that was a really test of fire. The first time you get shot at. I know that a lot of people experience the craziness in this country today, getting shot and stuff, but on a daily basis, getting shot at, especially when you have about 1,000 enemy trying to sniper you and trying to kill you. We ended up leaving that operation and went on to several other operations, sweeping through the rice paddies in the mountains, and we finally ended up going on Operation Beaver Cage, not Beaver Cage, we ended up going on Bow Charger. And Bow Charger this was the height of the Vietnam War. And during the Vietnam War, the North Vietnamese were sending tens of thousands of troops into the DMZ. And so we had to clear out all the people and all of the civilians out of that area. And in doing so, the North Vietnamese kept on, killing the civilians and trying to kill as many Marines as they possibly could. And after Bow Charger, we ended up going back to the USS Okinawa helicopter ship, where we immediately had to go right back out into the DMZ. And one of the companies of Marines, about 250 Marines were killed in the DMZ because they sent like about 10,000 North Vietnamese down on this company of Marines. Well, we had to go in and get the bodies. So there was several Marines that came in, battalions that were also coming in. We had to take control of the entire situation. And if you could only imagine what it had to be like, they told us we had to take that tree line over there, and it was up at the DMZ, and we all had to get up, and the jets came in and they bombed the heck out of them, and they were dropping napalm and everything else, and the officers thought that was going to be pretty easy to go up there, so we all got on line and started walking. Well, we didn't know that they had underground bunkers, and we hadn't even killed one of them. They came out and pretty much decimated the Marines that were attacking. So that was in July, and then in August, we were in the Quai San Valley. And during the Quai San Valley, my squad went out to a tree line, and we walked right into an ambush, and almost everybody was wounded right away. It took us 6 hours laying out there in the sun with no water, being shot at, and they kept on sending another squad down to try to help us, and they got wiped out. And then finally, at the end of the day, there was only 7 of us left in the entire platoon. That was in August. In October, we got overrun in the High-Laying Forest in Operation Medina. And that was one heck of an operation. You can't imagine what it feels like when you know they're coming. You're in your foxhole and you know that there's a good chance that you're not going to make it. And you make plans and you make your peace with the Lord, and then you go from there. I managed to survive that. Everybody to the left of me, an entire 3rd Platoon was wiped out in the 1st Battalion, 3rd Marines, and that was in October. We ended up going to A3, which is one of the areas in the DMZ. It's one of the outposts overlooking the DMZ, and we actually we had the monsoon season where you were totally wet for an entire month, and you lived in a hole and you had to keep bailing out your hole. It was a nightmare. And then we went up to a place called Charlie 4. That's right about a half a mile or a mile from the DMZ, right on the ocean, and that's where we fought numerous battles. Well, when I came home, my kids started asking me, Dad, what did you do in the war? And of course, I wanted to do like my dad. I didn't want to say anything, and I decided that that's not what I was going to do. I was going to actually tell the story. So I sat down with my kids, and I started telling the stories about Vietnam. And then I remember one of the kids came up to me after one of the Marine Corps birthday celebration. We had a speaker up there that was on Iwo Jima, and he was talking about what it was like on Iwo Jima. And my kids came over after his speech and said, Dad, you got to write a book. I mean, your stories are so much better than his stories. And, you know, Iwo Jima is my hero, so my kid's telling me this. So I actually started planning, and that's when I sat down, and I remember writing the first story. I cried for an hour, and I couldn't get back to that book for at least 2 weeks. And then I decided to continue, and that's what happened. All the way through this book, I cried. And then what I found out is that after I was editing, I'd go through the stories and I would cry, but not as hard. And then as I got through the stories even further, I noticed I wasn't crying anymore, and now I can actually talk about the things that had happened. There's a lot of people in the book that like when we were doing the taps today, I remembered all those guys that fought with me during Vietnam, and I'm sure a lot of you feel the same way, that it means a lot to everybody. So what I really wanted to do is say, I came from a bad situation, and I ended up working through all of my rough times. And I think it's important for everybody to realize that we all been through a lot, and but we can, with the grace of God and with the help of people like the VA right now, the veterans and all these veteran groups. I'm so proud of all of them, and I'm very proud of all you veterans who fought for this country. And I gotta say, God bless America! Thank you.